friends. I'm so glad you're here. I was just getting my bag and getting my book out so I could read a story. I hope you can join me today. Let's see what we're going to read. The name of the story is Finding Another Way. I don't like her, said Joanie. She is so mean. Joanie turned to her best friend Ronnie and said, "Let's go." Together they turned immediately and walked away from the group. Lying on the ground was a young boy with a brace, and he was crying. The principal had intervened, but it was too late. The mean girl with the black pigtails had tripped the young guy with the leg brace and sent him sprawling down into the red dirt on the playground. Joanie did not really know the boy, but she heard from one of the others that his name was Seth, and he had just started last week after his family had relocated to Chatham, Virginia. She had seen him in the hall, but never talked with him. "Oh," she grunted, "it makes me so mad when Luna does these mean things to people that can't fight back." The problem is, she always does it when no one is looking, and then the kids can't prove it. She always squeaks by, and it's just not fair, Ronnie. "Yup," said Ronnie. Joanie was quite verbal in her beliefs, and Ronnie was really quiet, so they got along very well. He was Joanie's best friend, and he was always with her. He had her back. Do you know what that means, to have someone's back? That means to always be there for them and to look out for them. So that's what it means to have their back. Several times some of the mean kids had threatened her because she spoke her mind, but when they saw Ronnie at her side, they quickly changed their mind. Ronnie was a football player, so the bullies were a little scared of him. Suddenly Joanie said, "Let's go get an ice cream cone, Ronnie." So in moments they entered the ice cream parlor on the corner. Hopping up on the stool, Joanie asked, "What you gonna get?" "I'm getting double fudge," said Ronnie. "That sounds yummy, but I want strawberry cheesecake," said Joanie. The clerk had just handed them their cones and taken their money when they heard the doorbell jingle. They really weren't noticing, but suddenly they heard a voice behind them saying, "So are you guys celebrating?" "I would have thought you would still be crying over that kid that fell back on the playground." "Ha ha," sniggled the voice slowly. They both turned around on their stools, and there she stood, Luna, with a smirk on her face. Joanie couldn't believe what she had just heard Luna say, but before she could say anything, Ronnie grabbed her arm and said, "Let's go, Joanie," and led her down the street. "What are you doing?" demanded Joanie. "I was just getting ready to give her a piece of my mind, and then—" "What?" said Ronnie. "You're too little to fight with someone like her, and Joanie, I can protect you from the guys that are bullies, but I can't protect you from girls because I'm not going to hit a girl." "Well, I can take care of myself," said Joanie. "No, Joanie, you have a lot of courage, but when someone is so much bigger than you are, you can get really hurt. You have to find another way to defeat Luna other than fighting. You know, our Sunday school teacher keeps telling us that fighting is not the answer. We have to find another way." "I know," said Joanie. "I guess you're right. But Luna is so mean to everybody. Just once I would like for her to get what she deserves." "Yes," said Ronnie, "I understand. You know, that makes me think if God gave me what I deserved, I would be in big trouble. But instead, God gives us grace and forgiveness when we ask him to forgive us." Let me continue with the story and see what happens. Suddenly, Ronnie said, "Let's go back to the park and see if we can find somebody to help." That always makes me feel better. Walking down the trail, they spied a little squirrel up on the side of a tree. The squirrel was just chattering away. The puppy over in the green grass was standing guard over a big old nut that the squirrel wanted. Ronnie began to chuckle, and he swooped down and picked up the puppy, and then they walked further down the path, leaving the nut unguarded. What do you think happened when the nut was unguarded? Let me see. Suddenly, the squirrel saw her chance and scampered down the tree, grabbed the nut, and in moments was back up the tree with the nut safely in her mouth. Ronnie and Joannie couldn't help but laugh and laugh. Ronnie was standing there when she spied a little girl crying, "Benji! Benji, where are you?" The puppy he was holding whined, and Ronnie said, "Is this your little guy?" "Yes," cried the little girl. "Thank you so much for finding him." After she and the puppy walked away, Ronnie looked at Joannie and said, "Sometimes when you help someone, a lot of things can change." The Sunday school teacher told us to love each other and to help each other. "You're right," said Joannie. "I feel so much better." Suddenly, an idea began to form in Joanie's mind. Joannie was thinking, what can I do? How can I find another way to deal with Luna and this situation that's going on? So she thought, I could pray about the problem. I could talk to an adult that I really trust. And I need to really take my time and do it right and find another way and not just jump in and do it too quickly. So she thought about these things. And the next day, as Joannie walked into the cafeteria without Ronnie, she saw Luna standing at the window. Luna was alone because not very many people liked her because she was so mean. Joannie walked up to Luna with a little cookie can in her hand. Luna looked at her, wondering what she was doing. Joannie smiled and handed the little cookie can to Luna. "What's this?" asked Luna suspiciously, because nobody ever gave her anything. "Open it," smiled Joannie. Inside were 3 chocolate chip cookies that her mother had made, and they were delicious. Luna looked down at the cookies for a moment, but when she looked up, her lower lip trembled. You know, when my lower lip trembled, I'm getting ready to cry. Well, let's see what Luna's getting ready to do. "My mom used to make me homemade chocolate chip cookies. I've not had any since she passed away last spring," said Luna. And her voice was so soft and sweet. Joannie was startled, but she said as she laid her hand on Luna's arm, "I am so sorry, Luna. I didn't know." Luna looked up with tears in her eyes and said, "Thank you, Joannie. I have been so mean to you, and I am so sorry." Joannie smiled at Luna and said, "But now you're saying you are sorry, so that's what's important. Maybe now we could be friends. What do you think?" asked Joannie. "I don't have any friends," said Luna. "Well, you have friend number 1 now," said Joannie. "And let's walk over to the ball field where Ronnie is practicing, and then you will have friend number 2. Ronnie likes everyone if you just give him a chance." Turning around, they began to walk. Joannie grabbed Luna's hand, thinking, Ronnie was right. It always makes us feel better when we do something nice for others. If we think about it, we can always find another way. So this story is just like the golden rule. And the golden rule means I'm going to do to you what I want you to do to me. And this is in the Bible, and it's in Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. And it says, "Do for other people the same things you want them to do for you." So I hope if you have something going on in your life that you will find another way to deal with it, because fighting is not the answer. Thank you for joining us today here on Wanna Hear a Story with Grammie. I am Kaka, and I was so happy to read to you. Thank you for joining us. Remember, Grammie and I love you. God loves you. Bye for now. Toodles!
1 is my buddy who shares their snacks. 2 is my pal with the jokes that crack.